So welcome everybody to the open Zoom this week. Um, Tony, you were eager to start this meeting. So is there anything you would like to share with us? You have seen the
You know,
last meetings. Is there
I
anything?
watched it. Yeah, yeah, I watched this a couple of weeks ago, and so you were doing a lot of the talking,
Oh yes.
and yeah, and so you were doing, your thing, and um, and that was fine. Don't have any issues with that at all. And then right at the end of it, this little plaintive cry from Claire emerged, and she sort of turned to Sylvain and said, "What do we do now?" And at that moment, my heart went out to her. You see, my heart absolutely went out to her. Because after talking about all this impersonal non-doership stuff, she said, "What do we do now?" It was a very poignant moment, actually, very poignant moment.
Ah yes.
And I thought to myself, well, there's lots of things you can do. You see, Claire, when you listen to Sander giving his spiel, what you don't hear from him, although he said it a few times, what you don't hear from Sander is that he did many years of practice prior to whatever he's saying now. I mean, he did a lot of practice before, so that tends to get forgotten.
Well, Tony, you seem to want to tell me what to do now. So, what would you suggest I
No, I'm
do
not
now?
going to. No,
Once one
no, I'm not.
understands non-duality, what does one do?
Well, first of all, non-duality is not some kind of conceptual understanding. It's just not. You have to get that out of your mind. The mind that doesn't exist that you were talking about. You have to get that out of your mind. It's not about getting some kind of understanding, some kind of intellectual understanding, so that you can say, "Oh yeah, I'm non-dual now. I'm a non-dual person now, or non-dual non-person." It's nothing to do with any kind of conceptual or intellectual understanding or belief
Would
system
you
or
would you say
whatever.
there was no goal? Then there was absolutely no goal.
Oh yeah, there is a goal. Oh, most definitely there is a goal, but it's a non-conceptual goal.
Can you
And
conceptualize it or talk about it then?
of course, yes, but even if I talk about a non-conceptual goal, it will still come across as a concept because
Well
that's what
then,
language does,
well then,
because language
Tony,
is dualistic.
well then, how do you know if I've got it or not? If it's something that can't be conceptualized or understood, then why would you be saying
Well,
how could you help someone get anywhere if there's nowhere to get?
there is somewhere to get. Hello, Harder. That there is
Hello.
somewhere to get, um, and that is a direct knowledge or direct experience of what your true nature of. That is where there is to get. But it's not about any concepts or ideas. It's not about anything like that at all. But of course, the way it's discussed continually on Facebook and in Zoom meetings, it's always concepts, concepts, concepts. Even the idea. Look, this is a comment that I made, um, which I addressed to Sid the other day, and I said, well, you talk about the mind in terms of thoughts and emotions, and the focus is on what causes suffering. But you want to use that same mind to try and heal yourself. So, how does that work? You see, how does that work? That you look at what causes suffering and you think of it as being not real. It's just a story. It's just something that's coming and going. Yet that same mind that generates those thoughts, you want to use that to get some kind of special understanding of non-duality.
Well, who are you talking about, Tony?
I'm talking about anybody who discusses non-duality in these terms.
I'm going to go check on my
Makes
pasta.
sense. Check on you what?
I think she's cooking food.
Oh, yes, she's cooking dinner, right. Hey, Harder, what's up? What's up?
I'm good here.
Huh?
I'm saying all good.
Oh, good. Yeah. What's up with you?
Nice weather there.
Nothing.
Yeah, it looks very sunny, doesn't it?
It is.
Where are you actually?
It in my garden
Yeah, somewhere on the planet.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So
So
what are you
any new insights from you this week?
what are you talking about?
No, I asked you a question.
Oh, okay.
Any new insights this week? What are you cooking, Claire? It smells delicious from here.
It's a combination. It's a sort of rice pasta thing.
Right.
But I wasn't running away, Tony. I don't really know what the point was though, because it's sort of there's nowhere to go. There's literally nowhere to go.
Well, if I may
There's
break
nowhere to
the
go.
conversation, I mean, yeah, in a way, Claire, I agree, but at the same time, I would say there's nowhere to go and there's everywhere to go at the same time. Sometimes so-called people seem to fall on one side of the coin, as I like to address it. We have these types of non-dual one-liners where they say, well, nothing is happening and there is no me. And, you know, I used to call that like one side of the coin. It's like it isn't that there is somewhere to go or nowhere to go. There may be a sense or belief that there is somewhere to go. And there may be a feeling that there is a being somewhere, but all those feelings or ideas or beliefs are just arising freely. So I would say there is nowhere to go and there's everywhere to go at the same time, and not even, the idea or the belief or the feeling that one is going somewhere or not going anywhere, or that there's a possibility or there's a lack of that possibility itself is just simply what is happening. As far as thoughts, ideas, stories seem to paint a reality, let's call it a reality. This whatever seems to be happening, there seems to be ideas, beliefs painting a world where there is someone in the shape of maybe you or someone else able to go somewhere or to not go somewhere.
Well, I think
But either
maybe
way, going somewhere or not going somewhere, yeah,
hmm.
there may be a feeling that there's somewhere to go. There may be an idea or belief or the lack of those ideas. This is not
Well,
about
yes, but there's no point in talking about what isn't happening, right? So what might happen. I
no, but
think the
this
mistake,
is just to.
I think the mistake that maybe Claire and a lot of other non-dualist theorists make is that they deny that they have free will and they can make individual choices and decisions.
But Tony,
That's what you need to grasp of. That's what
yeah,
you need
yeah.
to get hold of.
But
You
Tony,
you
sorry.
have free will and you have choice to make decisions about the direction of your life. There is no doubt about that whatsoever.
Well, I would say, Tony, I don't want you said you called Claire out to be, I don't know, non-dual something anyway. I don't want to put it
Non-dual
that way.
theorists.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard worse.
So,
Yeah.
this is not, here there's not saying that there are no choices, Here there's a choice, choices are being made,
Of course, there's a
on,
choice.
on a daily basis, yes, and there may be so-called individuals having the sense that there is that the choice is made by them, either, there's identification with the physical form, in that way they can believe that they are the one making the choices, but there can also be something like making choices without that sense of ownership or that feeling of being the choice maker. So,
Yes,
this is
but
not
choices are
about
still being,
my
but yes,
choice.
but choices are still
Yeah,
being
yeah,
made. Even though,
yes,
even if there is no identification as an individual, even
yes.
if there is the recognition and knowledge that one is unlimited and not limited and not bound by the bondage of action, even if that applies, choices are still being made.
Yes, of course, but that's clear. It seems that choices are being made, and so this is not about, that there are no choices. Yes, there are choices and there are no choices, but there is no separate, I would say there's just no separated choice maker in the shape of a you outside
Yeah.
the sense or
Okay,
belief.
but nobody's thinking that when they're doing stuff, right? When they're doing shit, nobody's
No, no,
thinking, well,
no.
there's no separate self, right?
Exactly. So if there is, there's nothing wrong with, there's absolutely nothing wrong or right with the sense or the addressing or the belief that there is a separated someone or not or communicating about it. This is not about that. So if someone is feeling to be a choice maker, if that feeling is arising, people are addressing that person as if there is a separate someone making that choice. I'm totally fine with it. This is not about one way or the other way. It's just simply what's happening, right? So
Well, you
people
could,
having
yes,
this.
of course, anything is just what's happening, right? But I'm a lot more judgmental than you are, and I'm prepared to talk in terms of right and wrong,
Oh yeah, but that's good.
in terms of a good path and a bad path or direction. I'm prepared to talk like that and feel totally comfortable about it. I'm never going to say, well, just whatever happens, okay, that's fine.
Oh,
Make a choice. All right. If I mean, all of this comes down to the basis of suffering. If there's suffering, then there is there is a drive to prevent suffering or to avoid suffering, and therefore something can be done about it. And
oh yeah, many things can be done about suffering. That's clear. There's many things. It's when the so-called physical body is hurt. There can be a lot can be done. Going to a doctor. Seeking help. It's the same with the so-called mental suffering.
I
There are
mean, you can have
many,
a
many,
very
many
light
things.
conversation about this because it's like, Rosa on the German meeting, which I was listening to. Rosa is really talkative and bubbly and laughing. I was listening to some of the German meeting, but it's a very light conversation there, isn't it? It's a very light conversation. It's not, like
But Tony,
nobody is committing to anything in the German Zoom. Rosa, it's just
I
my
cannot.
observation.
Wait, Tony.
Uh,
We take that later. I want to. Let's continue.
yeah, sure.
Let Rosa eat. You talked about yes, things can be done. So when suffering seems to happen, right? So then again, the same thing there. There can be a sense of it. There can be identification with suffering. We agree on that, right? There can be a sense it's my suffering. I'm hurting. There can be a sense of center. There can be a belief it's my suffering. There may be even a feeling that it's my suffering. I have no clue how that feels, but so apart from that,
Where are you going with this?
well, if this is arising, so that I would say there can be an additional layer claiming that suffering to be yours or mine, or not. It can work in both ways. There may be an identification with you being the sufferer. At the same time, we can agree on the happening that seeking help for certain suffering, either mental suffering or physical suffering, happens also innocently. The idea I have to do something about this, I have to call Tony and he have to tell me all about certain practices so I can get rid of my suffering, may happen or not, right?
And you yourself decided to do many practices over a number of years.
Oh yeah, but
You
it
made
was
that
yes.
decision. You made that choice. You made that
Well,
choice, right?
there was a choice, there was never a sense that, I was the choice maker. Sorry, this was just not the case. But there was a choice, I agree, there was a choice made to do practices. But the choice was not, we talked about this before. Practices was never because of suffering. It was an exploration, an interest.
But
So,
that's what practice is, an exploration. That's exactly what it
yes,
is.
but it was never out of a sense or a necessity to get somewhere. There was no intense suffering. We talked about this, you and me. So here there was, from the get-go, no suffering. Uh, um, Practices and all those types of things. Well, there was an interest to explore. That's
Yes,
why there was.
yes, I understand that. I think that practice can come from suffering and looking for something that avoids suffering, but it can also come from having a glimpse of something bigger, higher, in terms of that exploration. That it doesn't have to come from suffering. It can come from something quite positive, a glimpse of something that, and you want to look for more of it. So yes, there could be two reasons for going down the practice path.
So yeah, so you know, then again, so things can be done. Doing can happen, non-doing can happen. The only thing I always come back to is there's no separated doer, and we also agree on that. So
You see,
yes, choices can be
I'm
right.
trying to figure out what Claire wants. You see, what is it that she's looking for when
Well,
she
ask her
says,
directly, Claire.
Well,
What do you
I
want?
knew,
yeah,
I knew you were going to come back to this, Tony, because I was wondering how all this got started, and it was because you said to me, "Why did I
it's
say to
because of some
Sylvan?"
particular thing you said.
I
You
know, and
said
I
you
feel,
don't know whether to be you said you don't know whether to be dismayed about accepting mind and time or rejecting it. Now, I thought that was a really
well,
interesting thing to say
you,
because you
I
kind of,
sort of, I, I don't know where are you going with this, Tony? What do you want me to do or say? It's a comment I made. I said,
I don't
"Okay,
know, I
well,
don't have any control over what I'm saying because I'm not the doer.
Oh, but I thought you did. I thought you made choices.
Oh, I do.
Well, can you choose to let me be? I don't know. It doesn't mean anything, the comment to Sylvan. It was an innocent comment. It was not, there was nothing to be made of it, but it seems you're like
I'm
a
just trying
dog
to,
with a
I'm just,
bone.
Claire, I'm just trying to do a bit of digging here.
I
You
know
see,
you
I'm just trying
are.
to do a bit of digging. So let's all enjoy it. Let's have some fun. I'm just doing a bit of
Well, can we talk
digging.
about it? Might be nice for somebody else to talk or to change the topic because this all began from
All
something
right.
that you were
If
digging.
that is,
So, shall
if
we
that
put
is
it to
your
bed?
wish, yeah. Yeah, okay then. Yeah. No.
Maybe take
Right.
a vote.
Next. Next.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was beautiful. So Claire, you said it was an innocent, you said it beautiful. It was an innocent reaction, so apparently there was a communication going on between you or with Tony on Facebook, and you claim that to be an innocent reaction. Yeah, I would say, the so-called reaction coming from Tony is as innocent, the wanting to dig, the questions being asked. It's all just empty, you know. That's at least how it seems to be here. So Tony is just it's just what's coming up, and there
I'm
seems
just
to be
being me, Claire. That's all.
I
yeah.
do enjoy talking with you, Tony. It's I
As
just
I do you.
I get the feeling that you try and wind me up though from time to time.
Oh, you're winding me up all the time, and I love it.
Biting.
Well,
Claire has got a great turn of phrase. She says things on like Facebook. I'm not shut up your shop. I'm not interested in your wares. It's just it's
I
hilarious.
think doesn't everybody else agree that Tony needs to have his own YouTube page and set himself up as a guru or do
Well, I do
something?
have my own well, I do have my own thing, but I don't really push it that much.
hey,
Um, yeah.
We're here instead.
Oh, by the way, when I was listening to the German Zoom, it wasn't that my German is really proficient. I actually switched on the captions that was just immediately translating it all to English. So I mean, I'm not
Yeah, go
that
ahead, Tony.
proficient
What
to
do you
follow.
want to say to Rosa about this? About this, because as I understand, it was about it was light. It was light, and it was about nothing. It's all bullshit, I guess.
Yeah, it was a very light conversation, but what struck me was the contrast in Rosa between how bubbly and effervescent she was on the Zoom meeting and how quiet she's become on your Zooms.
Tony, I just love I love the way you play out very exactly as you are, you know, and this is very I love it. Um yeah, it's just Sven, who is in a way organizing the whole thing, is a friend of mine, and he is booming like an idiot. He is even more
Mm,
stupid impulsive than I am. And this is like children playing on the playground. This is just, you know, the
mm.
vibration. So it's completely different, of course. And I just love to play with him for no reason, and all the friends joining the whole thing. So it's fun. It's great joy. Yeah.
Who's the other guy who was there who also comes to these meetings? He's a German speaker as
Kai.
well. Oh yeah, I hadn't
He
realized he was a
understands
German
also
speaker.
German. So he
Ah,
also
yeah,
joined
right.
it. Yeah, it's a very nice gathering of friends. No
Yeah.
more, no less.
Mm,
Actually, it's completely open
mm,
for everything, for every bullshit. So you can
mm,
also
mm.
join if you like, Tony.
Oh yeah, but my German is pretty dreadful. So yeah,
Who cares?
yeah well.
Yeah, the who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Claire is a kind of a project of mine. I kind of see her as a kind of a project.
That's so patronizing.
Yeah, she is. No, no, well, I didn't mean it to be patronizing, but I see her as a kind of a project because
Why?
she I don't know why I'm talking about you in the third person. You're sitting right there in front of me.
Why am I a
Claire, yeah.
project?
So the thing about Claire is, oh, there you are. No, because you kind of, in a way, you typify for me the kind of conversations that come up about non-duality, and which is just so not going anywhere. And I kind of identified you as a kind of a project to try and get through to on some level.
Well, does she need fixing? Does Claire
Of
need?
course, she needs fixing. She's totally broke. Just look at her.
All the best people are mad, Tony.
She's a therapist. I mean, what more would you want to? What more would
Think
you say?
I think if I made sense, I would be completely square. I'm really glad that I don't make sense.
Also, it's interesting because you typify one other thing, which is the sort of not trusting at all in authority. And yeah, actually, Rosa's exactly the same. She doesn't like hierarchy or any authority or anything like that. In that way, you're both the same. This is a
Who's
strange kind of Zoom today, isn't it?
who's the authority? I mean, I actually don't mind authority. I mean, when you say authority, what do you mean? Like the guy in the fluorescent jacket telling me where to park my car? Are you saying the guy at the bank? You know, my boss? I don't even have a boss because I'm
Oh
self-employed. Like,
no, no,
who is the
no. I was
authority?
thinking, no, no, no. You can park where you like, but the thing is, no, I'm talking about the kind of authority within the context of what we talk about in non-duality. So, scriptural authority, gurus, that kind of things.
Okay,
That
well,
sort of
who
authority.
tell me in your mind who the authority is in terms of a guru or a scripture?
Well,
What would you say is the
apart from
authority?
apart from me, you mean?
You're saying, so I don't like you, is that what you're saying?
No,
Which
I didn't
it's
say
not
that.
true, I
I'm
like you
saying
very
apart
much.
from me as apart from me as an authority, who is an authority? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
I'm curious. When you say Claire doesn't seem to like authority, I'm wondering what I don't like because I'm not seeing what's the difference between me and an authority? What is the authority out there that is there to not
Well,
be
no, it comes from
liked?
your childhood, doesn't it?
I mean, I don't think I like my parents, that's for sure, but
You
I could
rejected authority as a child,
I'd like
so
at the
that's
same
obviously
time. Well, you can still like people at the same time as, you know.
Oh yeah. I'm not talking about disliking people. No. I'm not talking about that. That's a completely separate thing. But it's one of those things that typifies a particular kind of conceptual non-duality approach, which is a kind of rejection of any authority. That's what I mean. There are many things there's a whole list. And what else is on the list, Sander? Pretending that there's no person, that's another one. Pretending that you don't have any free will, that's another one. That's another one to tick off the list. The acceptance that everything is okay, even suffering, that's another one you can tick off. That nothing means anything, everything's meaningless. There's another one you can tick off. I mean, like I got on my list now.
Like I said, Tony, that is not how it's been suggested here. All those one-liners are for from this perspective, so to say, only one side of the coin. It's not that nothing has any meaning, because this is not about seeing that nothing has meaning. The sense or the idea or the finding that something is meaningful or meaningless itself is just happening. This is not about annihilation or a nihilistic worldview. No, here many things seem to be found meaningful, actually. But that finding things meaningful or the lack thereof is just innocently arising. There's no separated someone in here or somewhere else outside of this, finding things meaningful. So there's finding.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't making my comments directed at you. I mean, I'm just talking.
Oh no,
generally,
I know, but just
generally,
Sander, you're not the project, Sander. I'm the project.
No, I know, but
no, he's not the project.
Because in a way, I hear these one-liners also, Tony.
Claire is a science experiment.
In the beginning, when I started doing Zoom, I did a couple of Zooms, and I also did a couple of films about, these one side of the coins type of meaning, where people say nothing is happening, it's all a dream. Here there's no agreeing with any of that. It doesn't. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. It's just, that's just simply how it seems to play out for so-called individuals, that they say it's all a dream. No, it's not all a dream. But at the same time, thinking or claiming that it is a dream and not real. Okay, yeah, that can happen too. Yeah, of course.
No, I mean, you and I don't have any disagreements about this. No.
So, I mean, there are many types of stories and concepts and beliefs. Let's say, we would say about non-duality. In my suggestion, there isn't a thing called non-duality, which is something separated from this. There isn't a thing called non-duality or duality to begin with, which are two separated dimensions, or existence being apart from each other. So there's not on one hand duality, on the other hand non-duality. No, there aren't just simply, there's nothing is divided. So we can call, if there would be something like duality and non-duality, it's already not two. It's the same with reality and a dream. There is not a certain dimension which is reality, another dimension which is a dream or an illusion. No. At the same time, it's already just simply this. We can say it's all duality or it's all non-duality. It doesn't mean you cannot think yourself or conceptualize yourself out of the equation. There's just simply the equation. That's just simply what's
exactly. Which was, well, that goes right back to what I said at the beginning. You're using the same instrument, this mind,
exactly,
to try and heal yourself. So what? You believe the healing thoughts, but you don't believe the other thoughts that you're trying to get rid of.
It's the same functioning. It's the same mechanism. It's the same functioning. If you say it's faulty in all ways. It's not faulty in one way, and then where it's Exactly. There's no escape. There's no way out,
Well, yeah, but there is though, because the mind is not the answer and it's not the solution, then the conclusion is that you have to get rid of the mind. You have to annihilate the mind. That's the conclusion.
Well, we all know. I mean, some who have read some books. I think Ramana Maharishi was saying that Maharishi was saying, you know, you need you need the mind to crack the mind, and then you discard it altogether. So I think it's maybe that's what you want to say, but
yeah, well, you have to get to non-duality. You have to start with duality.
exactly. But in a way, it's still even the idea that you need to use the mind to get rid of the mind is still just simply the mind.
What is the mind? What is simply the mind?
It's still just, you can, I can also say the thought that you can lose, you can get rid of problems with thoughts is just another thought. Let's say it like that.
Yes, of course, yes. Of course.
Yeah. So in that way, you will never manage. It's just, you go deeper. I mean, there's no way out. You cannot think yourself out of the equation. You cannot, conceptualize yourself out of this already. It's just still the same functioning, still the same mechanism. If there's a belief that you can't, it's still just a belief that you can or you can't. It's the same.
Yeah, but if there's no mind, then there are no problems.
Well, okay, let's I used to say there's this innocent stream of thoughts, right? Painting a life with maybe you at the center and a life separated from you as a person. So this all we can call mind, yeah? So I call it thought stream, but if you call it mind, yes. There's nothing besides that. Exactly. When there is no mind, chattering.
Mind is just thought. Mind is just thought. So
just thought.
One thought appears and disappears, and it's followed by another thought, which appears, disappears. But I also call thoughts, it could be emotions or feelings or perceptions. Any mental activity, it comes, it goes, it's replaced by something else. That's all you can ever know. That's all you can ever know. Just that thought now, gone. Another one gone. That's all you can ever know.
And Tony, when this is not happening, when there's nothing left, and not even nothing. There's no thing like separation or no separation. There's nothing like wholeness or partners or two-ness. I mean, so
well, you see, Claire asked me a direct question, and she said, "Oh, you can come and tell me what non-duality is." Well, that's easy. See, non-duality is just the direct experience of non-dual awareness. That is non-duality. I finally got to answer your question.
Ouch, Tony.
What?
What did you say? The non-dual.
Non-duality is the direct experience of non-dual awareness.
Experience.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, good. In a way, to experience something, you need to. I don't know how this works, but yeah, it's a beautiful story.
Yeah, it's a very special case of what an experience is. I could say it's a banana. I mean, I don't have to say it's an experience. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, if I experience non-dual awareness, there must be something experiencing non-dual awareness. So that's two. Yeah, that you rightly said that. But it's not really like that.
That's really how is it called? Schizophrene. That's really schizophrenic.
No, but that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. What you're hearing is a description of it that sounds like there are two, that there's one experiencing non-dual awareness. It's only two because it's language. But if nothing is said at all, it's just awareness experiencing itself. There is not two. But it sounds like there's two as soon as I describe it in dualistic language.
It was simply funny to hear this, what you said.
Well,
Language.
they've been well. I don't know. A lot of people must have been laughing for the last 3,000 years. Then, but anyway, there we go.
Sweetheart, what are we talking about? For me, it's a joke already, but it's fun. It's just fun. I'm just enjoying. I'm just enjoying. I'm just enjoying the bullshit coming out
I know,
also
but you
from
see,
here.
this is what happens. It gets to a certain point where I hit a wall, and you have to then turn it into a joke and say it's meaningless. It's a joke. So, but you see, that's interesting, isn't it? When that happens.
What happened?
Because
Did I miss something?
No, I explained something, but it got to a certain point where you then turned it into a story.
Oh, you explained a beautiful story, sweetheart. There is no escape out of stories. Yeah.
No, you turned it into a story. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
you
it
made
is a story. It
Rosa,
is a
what
story,
Tony
Tony.
is saying, until a certain point, there's a communication between you, and then
yes,
at
I hit a certain point with Rosa that triggers the
this is all
meaningless joke.
Yeah.
That response gets triggered. How many times have I seen that? It just gets triggered. I mean, yeah,
No, it's funny. It's simply very funny. It's just funny. It's amusing. It's entertaining. It's very entertaining. That's the whole thing.
Can I just ask a question? Because I mean, Tony, it's interesting. You make maybe a very good / bad therapist, because you do seem to like to focus on the issues that you see. I found it interesting that you highlighted, oh, Claire's got a problem with authority. Oh, I don't know, maybe do I? But whereas what I quite like about these meetings is the openness and you said yourself, there are two ways of non-duality. There's the way through the suffering and through the challenges that we've all had in life. And then there's the way which is through the awareness, the sun behind the clouds. And I mean, I'm not judging, I'm not making a judgment, but from what I've noticed, you seem to prefer the former route. I don't know what you think about that.
The suffering doesn't mean that you're going to go down that path. I mean, there are many people who just suffer and continue suffering, and they never get out of it, right? So it doesn't mean that the suffering is going to take you somewhere beautiful and peaceful and blissful. If you go down a particular path, it may do, but it doesn't mean it's going to, just because the suffering is there, right?
Just tends to perpetuate it. If you focus on something, it's like rubbing a stain with blood. It's just going to make it bigger.
I mean, for me, it wasn't suffering that put me down that particular path. It wasn't. That for me, it wasn't, but for others, it could be, and that's just as legitimate. I'm not saying.
I think this is the challenge that a lot of people do get into with non-duality, because yes, the suffering is maybe what leads them to the path, and then they think, oh, fantastic. It's like with those pinata dolls that you hit with a stick, and you think, oh, well, I'll just keep whacking it, and because you get the treats out, so you think it's a positive thing to cause yourself pain and suffering. So you're constantly looking for more of the challenges. And I might say, well, why are you picking at the scab? Why don't you rub the aloe vera on? Why don't you actually look for something that's soothing and feels good, rather than constantly looking for the problems?
Well, you see, what I'm really saying there, Rosa, what I'm really saying there is that I got that response with a certain trigger. Is not really the right word, because that sounds like I'm trying to be aggressive or something. I'm not. I'm saying that a certain comment elicited that response, and that's conditioning, right? That's conditioning. That's just a little demonstration of how strong conditioning is.
Tony, shut up for a sec, sweet. Just shut up. Listen.
Sure.
I love this entertainment. It's pure entertainment. It's a monologue. Tony is speaking with himself the whole time. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And yeah.
I've only got 45 minutes. What do you think?
It's totally here. Here it plays like this. The moment this year wakes up, it's already a joke. It's already a joke.
See, we've got a really small,
then
tight
just
group,
seeing
the different
Tony,
kind of conversation, because there's only really a few of us, right?
And then just seeing Tony, it's a total joy. I just want to tell you, sweetheart, I love you exactly as you are. Actually, you're exactly as stupid and impulsive than I am.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's a compliment.
I am what I. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I am what I am, and I'm completely comfortable with that. And that's the important thing, you see, to be completely comfortable with yourself.
Oh, no,
So
no,
you
I'm
could
not completely comfortable with myself. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So maybe that's why we should talk more about the goal of non-duality. And you
Oh,
could talk about that in those terms as well. It is to be completely comfortable with yourself
well,
and
sweetheart,
with
for
the
you,
other.
Wait,
You
wait,
could
for
wait,
you,
Tony,
identify
it's
that
like
as
this.
another goal, actually.
Tony.
Yes.
That may, that as a goal may happen, yes, but that again, the idea that there is a goal with it, or the lack of that idea. We talked about this, sometimes you and me in conversations, um, here,
I say it in
also when
goal.
it comes to these meetings, right? It's not
Yeah.
practical because I'm not, but yes, it's pretty, it's legit, if you say that is the goal, to help people and all that, I totally agree, here it doesn't play. So when it comes to these meetings, there's no goal to end anyone's suffering, it has
I
no
can't
goal.
help anybody. No, 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 no. I can't help anybody. I'm talking about people helping themselves.
Yeah.
I can't help anybody. No, there is a goal, but the goal is for whoever to help themselves. You can't. It's possible. Well, it's possible to help in the sense that you could give some tools or some methodology to maybe make things kind of easier. But ultimately, you can't help anyone else. You can't. It's impossible. You have to help yourself.
Well, but I mean, it's the same with helping a lady crossing the street. These things happen often. There's an impulse to help, or there's a lack of an impulse. Some so-called individuals are very helpful, and they have intentions or needs to save the world. This may happen, but this can play in many, many different ways. The lack of that need to make the world a better place or to help the lady cross the street.
You have to do something because the conditioning, your own personal individual conditioning, is so powerful. It's so strong. It's difficult to escape from. And I just
Oh well,
demonstrated
you
one
cannot
example
escape. You cannot. There is
response,
just
programmed
conditioning,
response. It's so
Tony.
powerful.
So Tony, I would say there is just conditioning, which include the idea that there is a conditioning, as a personal one or an impersonal one. It's already conditioning. It's hard to escape conditioning, or to transcend conditioning, as there is no such thing as your conditioning or my conditioning.
That's a good point. You never get rid of the conditioning.
No.
You never get rid of the conditioning. But
And
what you
you
can get
don't
rid
need
of,
to.
no, but what you can get rid of is identifying with the conditioning, being a slave of the conditioning, thinking the conditioning is you. That so you can be free of the attachment and the identification of the conditioning, and then you can be free even though the conditioning is still there and it's still operating in a really kind of automatic way. Someone will say something to you and you'll give a response. I mean, it happens. Look, I'm talking about Rosa, but the same thing happens to me. Someone might say something to me and it programs a particular kind of response. That happens to everybody. But the question is, are you free of it? You see, that's the essential thing. Are you free of it because you're unlimited and you're not limited by that particular conditioning behavior? That's really what it's all about.
But you
Tony,
are already not bound to it, my friend. There is no you bound to a condition.
You are bound to it if it's not the living reality that you're not bound to it. So I don't go along with people who say, "Oh, you're already enlightened. You're already." No,
Oh
you're
no,
not.
I'm not
State of
saying
ignorance.
you
Living
are already
reality is a state of
enlightened. I'm not saying that, Tony. I'm not saying you are already enlightened. You know, but when you say, you have to get rid of
you're not already
conditioning.
bound. You said you're not bound.
Yes.
But the reality is that you can be bound by it.
Well, yes,
That's
the sense or the belief, the sense or the
If you
belief.
feel you're bound by it, then you are.
If the thought that you are bound by something called conditioning, the belief, the sensation, even, I don't know, in the chest or whatever, that you are bound by something may happen. Yes, I totally agree with that. But that happening itself is happening itself. There is no you in the mix already.
It's Tony, it's always no matter what you say now, feeling bound or conditioned or whatsoever, it's always total. It's always totally just bound, just conditioned.
What do you mean by total? What do you mean by total?
It's just it is only this. There is no escaping just the feeling shitty, like let's take the negative stuff, yeah? So it's just totally what it is. It's so simple.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, I understand what you're saying because whatever arises just arises spontaneously, and by the time that you react to it, or maybe you want to, maybe you disapprove of it, or maybe you approve of it, or it's already too late. It's happened. So yes, it's total in that way.
It's always total. It's always total.
Yes, but that in itself. That in itself. How should I put that?
There is no escaping the totality of what is. Boom.
Yes, but there is the possibility of escaping being bound by it. Gareth, you haven't said a word, so what do you think? I was just going to say, what do you think, Gareth?
I don't like doing too much speaking. I don't want to waste my words. No, I think I'm bound by my conditioning. And I don't like doing a lot of talking. And like Rose said, the feeling comes in your chest or whatever. And I just don't like talking.
So that's something you dislike.
And this is, and this, Garrett, exactly what you said. Like this feeling not to boom out, just to be more inwardly, right? Not feeling comfortable with talking now. This is totally perfect, exactly as it is. There is no escaping this. There is no one who can escape this, and there is no need, of course, to escape this because it's just what's appearing.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect.
You can say it's banana. I don't give a shit.
You're saying it's perfect, but it's not perfect.
It is
if
perfect.
You're suffering and you want to avoid it. It's not. No, I'm
it's
sorry.
Perfection. It's unknown. It's unknown perfection already.
Wait.
Tony, I love you.
Let me say something. Let me say something. Gareth,
sorry, if you're suffering, you're not going around saying, "Oh, this is fucking perfect."
This is fucking perfect. Yeah, that's
but
it.
Wait. Let me say something to Gareth. Gareth, okay. Yeah. So, Gareth, there is this, the sensation not wanting to talk, yes.
You're an hour late, Gio.
So, at some certain point, there may be an interest to do something about it. This can change. This can change. The not wanting to talk can change. It's not that it cannot change. Of course it can change. Of course, things can happen, there may be an interest to do certain therapy, maybe calling Claire or calling Tony or whatever, or finding a way to be more, or finding a way to be more communicated.
Garrett, or one-on-one with me.
Stop, when Rose
this is the kind of thing I object to, really. I mean, again, the non-dualist theorist, scene. Oh, it's all perfection. I feel like putting a bullet through my brain, but it's fucking perfection.
I don't think it's anything. I don't think it means good perfection. From what I understand, it's just a word for meaning what is, right? It can be good, bad,
as I said, he can say banana to this. It's just what is. It's completely beyond any understanding, Tony, sweetheart. But I know that you know. I know that you know, and we are playing this game, and we love to play this game of just blah 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 bullshit.
But Garrett, many things can be done about this. It doesn't need to stay the same way. At the same time, the interest to change any of the so-called feelings in the chest, or the need to talk or to be more open, you know, the need or the drive to do anything about it, or the lack of the drive, comes spontaneously and innocently. I mean,
You know
so
my
yes,
reaction.
things may change.
Rosa, my reaction when you say it's perfect or it's just what's happening. You know what my reaction is? How fucking defeatist and weak that is to say there is only this and just accept that. It is so weak and defeatist. It's terrible.
Beautiful.
It's absolutely
Tony,
awful.
Tony, I love it. I love this brutal honesty because it's a projection, a total projection, and it's a monologue. Here is simply, you know, it's just passing by what you're saying, like choo, and coming back. So in a way, you're enjoying yourself.
Bliss can also be the same kind of ignorance of a leaf just blowing in the wind, aimlessly, not going anywhere, having no direction. That is also a kind of a bliss, right? But to just say, oh, there is only this, and to use those words as some kind of comfort for yourself, because it is. When you say that, psychologically, it's kind of comforting.
Yeah, Tony,
Oh,
Tony.
because no, listen, let me finish. When you say that, if something negative or bad is happening, or you're having some bad experience, if you then say to yourself, there is only this, it has a kind of instant soporific comforting effect.
For you, sweetheart, for you. It's very obvious that this is the way how see it.
What says that?
Tony?
It's brief, it's just transitory. But it's so defeatist. It's like saying, I give up. Really, to me, that's what it's saying. It's saying, oh, there's only this. It's like, oh, I give up. I mean, I can't.
Yeah, sweetheart. Beautiful. Beautiful. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Okay. Check. Check. I got you.
Check that box.
Garrett.
Me and my wife had something bad experience. We went to Crete on holiday, and we both had our mobiles, and my wife had a text saying that a earthquake is imminent, and she was starting shouting and panicking and saying, quick, you must put on your shoes and sit under the table. And I got a text and it said, thank you for flying with British Airways. She was going bananas, and I didn't know I had nothing to say. The earthquake started, and I'm told it went on for about 1 minute, which is quite a long time for a earthquake. And the hotel was shaken about, and
wow,
and I think it was 7.8, which is quite a high one for Crete, and it was out on the sea, about 80 miles outside of the island. But as I say, my wife was shouting and going crazy, and I didn't know what to say, you know.
And you were cracking up.
Yeah, but it calmed down after a while and back to normal.
Perfection.
Tony, come again.
Well, I just want to know if the earthquake was perfection.
Garrett, what would you say? Was it?
Well, it was an experience, you know, but yeah, it was something to remember, you know, from a holiday.
Very cool. Very cool sharing, Garrett. Love it. Love it. How did you felt? How did you feel during the earthquake? Was there fear or?
No, not much. Not much really. I did experience a very small tremor in Wales, I think 20 years ago.
If someone has an extra sound on the mic, is it you, Rosa?
It's Tony.
You, Tony?
What sound?
Yeah, there's constantly a sound, like a disturbing sound going on. Someone on the mic.
I think it could be the fan, actually. Yeah. Could be the fan.
Just to update you, Sander, my client has cancelled, although she's just emailed again to say the reason she cancelled was because she's had an argument with somebody. So I'm now emailing her back saying, well, if there's been an argument, do you think it might be helpful to have the session? So I'm either going to be going or not going, depending on whether she decides she wants to meet or not. So I'll keep it going. Even if I do go, I'll leave it running.
Yeah, you had your hand up, Claire. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, it was actually in response to what Gareth was saying about this feeling in the chest and how that could be related to conditioning. And it's I just wanted to reflect on that really, because it seems that with conditioning there's a sense of fear. There's a fear with is it the conditioning or is it the sort of the end of the conditioning that's the frightening thing? But I
Doesn't
wanted
matter,
to sort
right?
of open that up a bit, I suppose, as a conversation.
Yeah. Look. With any type of emotion, fear or happiness, or that it's not playing in that way here. But when there is fear, it's just a functioning. So a tight chest, tears rolling, a smile, all that is just how this body mind combination seems to function. And some I would say seem to have a tendency to have more like a feeling in the chest. Some maybe have a feeling in the head. It like, and there may be an additional layer to it that everything is taken personally. It's my fear. It's my feeling in the chest. I have to get rid of it. But those additional layers may just simply lack or may not be there. So, you know, I would say there are many ways, is there something to be done? Can there something be done about fear? Yes, there can be. Many things can be done about fear. But this is not about there is no possibility to get rid of fear. No, and there may be, but the idea or the wanting to get rid of fear or the trying to do something about it or the lack of that comes as innocently as the panic attack or the fear. It just comes and goes, right? Fear, happiness, the need to do something about it, the lack to do something about it. It all just simply dances freely.
I suppose I brought it up. Sorry, Sandra, do you want to finish?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
If I could just say, Tony, I think the reason I brought it up was because when somebody mentions something like a feeling in the chest, it's an instant, yes, I can relate, and I know that is not a very pleasant feeling. And I think as a human species, we sort of work together to troubleshoot. So there's a bug or there's a virus, and I sort of, oh yeah, I've had that one too, and this is what worked for me, or this is something that we can help. It's interesting, that instant urge or instant sort of, oh, let's talk about that we have when something comes up, like we're fixing a house and there's a tear in the wallpaper, we all want to go over and put something over it. It's curious how that seems to happen.
But there's a relating, Claire. What you say, there's a relating. So when there's a certain happening, when Garrett is saying, well, he's talking about the sensation in the chest. There can be a relating to that sensation. There can be anything may practically happen. People say, well, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. And some so-called other is relating with it and say, well, try this and try this. It's just how it seems to function. Compassion, towards so-called other human beings, wanting to help or, agreeing with, it's not good, or even saying, well, nothing is happening, Garrett. It's not real. It's just a dream. Even this may happen. It's just, all these ideas and claims and relating and compassion or the lack of that is just simply innocently arising. So one can say, well, Garrett, it's all a dream. The other say, well, I also had a sensation in the chest. I know what you can do. All that is just innocently arising from, there's no you in it. It's just what's happening. It's just the functioning, how so-called human bodies, mind systems are functioning.
I think it's an interesting point that I do want to make actually, because it seems to be that in itself is the healing, the fact that people want to help and want to connect. Because if we're talking about the fact that the issue is the separation, the opposite of separation is wholeness, and
But
you know,
all
in a
this is
way,
already not
that is
separate.
in itself the
Claire,
healing.
Claire,
Hey,
let me say something, Claire, sweetheart, to what you said about the healing. I see life as suffering already. Just being born here is full on suffering. And life itself goes the whole time, this whole thing here is a full on therapy already. There is no escaping the therapy because of no escaping the suffering. It plays simultaneously. This is how I see it. So for me, it's really like a done deal here, a joke. And I cannot but just see things very, very easygoing, perfect as they are already. The need for whatever is just wow. It's just amazing, no matter what.
I mean, healing's a word, obviously, healing's a word, and it might be applied to anything that we might say we don't like. It's language is so limited. I think that's what I meant by
yeah, but
healing.
it's just language, sweetheart. It's just languaging, you know. So there's nothing wrong or right with it. It's just you don't have to excuse yourself, Claire.
It
For
was just what's coming up here, listening to the words, just like ping ponging,
It's nice.
energy, moving, playing.
It's so nice to see you, Rosa. I really when you guys were
And it's
chatting earlier, I miss
and
your
it's
smile.
also cool that we are both are eating in the evening. I love it.
has anyone find out who is making that noise?
Gio has pointed the finger at Tony.
No, he switched the fan off.
I think the suggestion is to go on mute.
Wait. I mute. Yeah, mute Tony for and 1 second or 10 seconds. We see if it's over. Claire, you have to do it. I cannot do it.
Oh, am I? Oh, I should have done it from the start. Tony, I've got the
Yeah.
power. Look how much power I've got in this meeting.
Yeah, it's gone. It was Tony's. You can unmute him again. The
I
poor
don't
guy.
know. I have to think about that.
You can hear a noise from me?
Yes, it's
The
a
whole
noise.
time. It
Yeah.
just Tony, you're just noising the whole time. It's
Maybe it's something around your microphone, Tony, which is making the noise. Gio, maybe you can welcome Gio. It was an hour earlier. It's no problem.
No, I know. I had some stuff. I had to fix some stuff here at my house. There are people working here. I couldn't make it. But now it's okay.
Now there's no noise, Tony, by the way.
Okay. Oh, look, I'll tell you about perfection. Yeah, my wife got bitten by a snake yesterday. That's perfection. And she's healing.
say hi to your wife and get well
Yeah.
soon.
No, he just got a slight nip on the ankle from a little snake. I don't know what it was. I can't, but anyway.
Was it the viper?
No, I don't know. I don't know what it was. Just described it. But anyway, that was just perfection.
Well, it's a good point actually about snakes, isn't it? Because it can be very easy to say everything is part of what is, and that's all wonderful. And then actually sometimes it is still part of what is, and it is still perfection. Yet there's the good and I can hear my voice reflected back. I think, Tony,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put you on mute while I talk. It's the fact that there is a sort of duality within non-duality. You know, you still have everything as part of everything, and yet there is still the separation at the same time. So yes, the snake is legitimately an irritant. We don't need to love the snake necessarily. We don't even need to like the snake, but we can still accept it.
But
Ouch.
Claire, when you say everything is part from what is, includes the idea that there is, the statement being made is already what is.
Why
It's
are
not
we
part
echoing?
from something else.
I think it might actually be, sorry, Gio, I think it might be, I don't know if anyone else can hear the feedback when there's the speaking.
Yeah, there's some feedback.
Yeah.
No.
So, I mean,
Yes.
What's
there
up?
are no parts.
What's up, Gio?
No, everyone got
No,
a voice.
I have this sudden feeling that again that there is no fragmentation, there is no separation, so everything is included.
Yes.
The very fact that you may find something not perfect, or the other saying that everything is perfect, it's already part of the same movement. I mean, how can you separate and choose? Who is going to choose the right from the wrong? Who is going to judge that something is perfect or not?
Beautiful.
Well, it's not, if you personally think it's undesirable, then it's not perfect. If your reaction is, I don't want this, it's undesirable, I want it to go away, then it's not perfect for you. But I would say it's possible to have an undesirable situation, but it doesn't cause suffering.
But that's itself already perfect, Tony. That's how Rosa is mentioning it. So I think
Well, you know, this word perfect is a little bit inadequate in a way, isn't it? I mean,
I know, but
it's like
what you are saying
healing.
about perfect or imperfect, you know, what perfect is or what imperfect is already perfectly what is. That's what how Rosa is meaning. I agree.
Yeah, but you just think about what people say in normal life. You know, they say, "Oh, I'm having a perfect day." You know, happy, carefree. But if they were suffering, they wouldn't say, "I'm having a perfect day," right?
No. So in that so-called content, I understand what you are pointing to. But that itself, the whole explanation, what was given right now, when people say this and this and that, and it cannot be perfect, that itself, as what is already perfectly what is. That is what Rosa trying to mean. Instead of what she's trying to say, instead
Yeah.
perfect,
Unfortunately, that doesn't mean anything to me. To say that everything is just perfectly, it doesn't mean anything to me. You see, it's just
But you see,
some saying. It's just what is it?
I know, but
you
it doesn't
see,
mean anything for you, Tony. It's just what's coming up there. You know, I understand what you
yeah,
mean. At the same time, I also understand what Rosa's meaning. So, yes, can it be when somebody says, "Well, my wife died yesterday," it's perfect. You know, this sounds funny, but in a way,
Well,
it's
it might be
already
for some
It's what
people.
is.
perfect.
It's simply what
It's
is.
what
Let's
is.
put it like
So
it's what is. It's
it's
just
what
what
is.
is.
It's just, you know, the word perfect seems to trigger certain reactions there, innocently, I would say. When there's a hearing of the word perfect, there's a reaction to it. I don't like that word, for example. Tony, you say, I don't like that word. But that's already what is. That's what Rosa is trying to say.
Well, there can't be anything else other than what is.
Exactly.
yes,
So it's not
yes,
news. So it's not big
Exactly.
news.
No,
No
exactly.
news at all.
No
No
news.
news at all,
no
Tony.
news.
Boom.
It's not news.
Exactly, Tony.
Yet you say it as if it's significant.
It's both. It's
As
significant and
whatever.
insignificant. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's whatever meaning you give it. I can only see
mean,
Tony, when you speak, for me, it's just sound coming out. There is no meaning already to what you're saying. And here the
Um,
same. Here it's the same.
It's a game
well, I
of
don't.
meaning.
But
Whatever
doesn't.
meaning we give it,
Beautiful, Jude.
But
or
you say
not,
Beautiful.
there's
or
no
not,
meaning, but that's
Gio.
just bizarre. I mean,
or not.
that's just
Perhaps even.
absurd.
It's just so simple. It's just so
Yeah.
fucking simple what is. And
No,
it's
my
simply,
words mean something. My words mean
of
something
course,
as your
sweetheart.
words something, as your words mean
That's the
something.
game. That's the
Or
game.
not.
Or not.
Oh no!
Exactly.
Well, where are we going now? We're going
Or
down the
not.
rabbit hole here.
That,
It's Alice in
Tony,
Wonderland.
that's the entertainment. That's the entertainment.
I hear two times that.
To
Yeah.
start,
I
to
hear it four
start
times.
off.
I'm hearing two Rosas, and I mean
Gio.
that's just
And poor Tony,
unbearable.
that's not what he wants.
Woohoo! I love the show.
I mean, one Rosa is enough, surely.
Gio.
Oh,
To start off, there is no meaning to anything. And
Boom.
here we are, six squares talking to each other because we are playing the game of meanings.
Boom.
But actually, there is no meaning to anything.
Hey, what you just
And
said
the
meant
name of-
something to me. You just said nothing has
Because
any
that's
meaning,
be-
and that statement in itself has
because
a
that's the
meaning. So
game we are
how
playing.
does that work? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it game?
Let me say it like this.
It's a game.
Let me say it like this, to bring some perspective. So, meaning or the lack of meaning itself has no meaning and
Oh.
meaning at the same time. So,
Oh
finding
God.
things meaningful, the
Oh
finding
my God.
things meaningful itself has no meaning on its own. It's just what is. At the same, but it's also for the opposite. So this is not about seeing that everything is meaningful. Giving meaning or finding things or meaningful or not is just simply what is. This is not about one side of the coin again, where we all say, "Oh my God, it's all meaningful." And
Is there a sport? Is there a sport in the Olympics that mental gymnastics? Has that been introduced yet as a sport? Mental gymnastics.
Well, I don't know, but
Because that's what it
anyway,
sounds like to me.
it's
You see,
all
it's just
mental
mental
gymnastics, Tony.
gymnastics.
Tony, it's all mental gymnastic. There's nothing else. It's all mental gymnastic, playing along. It's doing jokes and jumping on its own. It's just,
But you see, when
there's nothing
Gio
else.
says nothing has any meaning, that's contrary to his experience. So
Yeah,
why is he
because-
saying it? It's very interesting.
I know why you say this, because saying there's no
Lots
meaning.
of things mean
meaning
things
that
to
there is
him.
no
I know
meaning.
that. How many things have meant something to you today, Gio, since you got up?
Many
I mean,
things.
lots of things have meaning, right?
Of
I
course,
just
there are
I
things
just
which
think
are-
this whole go on.
Tony, sweetheart, let me. So imagine
Oh, this
you are
feedback is
sleeping.
annoying, isn't it? Yeah.
Tony, listen now, please. Imagine you're sleeping very deeply.
I can't. How
You
can you
can't.
imagine you're sleeping?
You
How
start
can you
on the
imagine you're
wrong foot,
sleeping?
though, Rosa. I mean,
There is no wrong. There is no wrong. So, sweetheart, where is Tony and his mind activity while deep, deep, deep sleep? There is just a body lying in a bed.
Oh, I'm
And
still
nothing is
there.
happening. No. And then Tony wakes up in the morning. Hooray, boom, here I am. Let's enjoy the show. That's it.
That's it.
What a joke.
Yeah,
Meaning
again,
woke up.
you see, I don't really understand the significance of what you just said.
I'm not trying to explain anything. It was just like blah, 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 blah. It's just a game.
like I said this in the beginning of the meeting. We talked about meaning also. So here during the day, there are many things found it meaningful. Going to work, for example, having a certain conversation. There's a certain meaning in. Certain things are found it meaningful. Eating breakfast before going to work, putting gasoline in the car while driving. So not, it has a certain meaning to put actually gasoline in the truck. So I can drive.
And
So
not
there's a
water.
meaning. There's a meaning. It's just how it seems to function. So finding it meaningful to put gasoline in your car is just what's happening. But it's not for someone. It's just how it plays. So meaning and the lack of meaning, and this finding it meaningful to have close relationships or social contacts may also shift into not finding it meaningful. It just dances. So meaning and meaningfulness is just what is arising. Finding things meaningful, finding them less meaningful, it just comes and goes. But
Yeah,
sorry, I'm going to let you speak. But there's no sensation, no additional layer that it's about me. It's my meaning. I do it. There's no sense of doing the meaningfulness or finding it meaningful, nor is there an ownership taking over what things are meant to be meaningful or meaningless. All that is not the case. That's just what is. Simply, plainly, finding things meaningful, finding other things less meaningful, but there's no ownership in it. There's no sensation that there's a me having anything to do with it. It's just what's happening. Finding meaningful things, finding other things meaningless, and this fluctuate. It just dances really. It may stop. Some things which were founded meaningful before, so to say, are less meaningful now.
Well, I can't, disagree with any of that.
There's nothing more to it. And it's the same with certain preferences. This is not about having no preferences. It's the same with certain preferences. They come and they go. They dance on their own, I would say. There's no sense of it's mine preferences or I am the one controlling them. No, there's just a full-on preference for, eating eggs instead of oats in the morning. There's a full preference, and this preference may go. There was a eating of a certain porridge. The preference was to eat a certain porridge for months. An Indian porridge. I eat it for years. And then suddenly one day there was a waking up, and the preference to eat that porridge was just completely gone. It morphed into a preference to eat cooked eggs. But there was no sensation that I was doing the preferences, that it had anything to do with me. Sorry, Claire.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask Tony. Well, it was addressed to Tony. It's interesting because when we say sort of, I can't disagree with that, or I think with people there can sometimes seem to be this sense of to agree is to lose something, possibly, or that maybe is how it can be playing out. The idea that we all agree, if we all agree, we're one, and if we agree, then we've got. I think it can sometimes seem like disagreeing creates a personality or an identity. So if you stand against something, you create some sort of separation. It's just something that I was reflecting on.
Oh, yes. I mean, you might think that, but when I said I don't have any issues with what Sander is saying, that's fine. But then I go the extra bit and say, yeah, but you've got to do something. You've got to be an individual with free will who does something. If you feel that you're suffering and you don't want to be suffering, there's something you have to do about it. It's not good enough for me to hear this is just what's happening. This could happen or that. That's not good enough for me. This is where I am much more. This is where I am completely proactive. No, but I don't go along with any of that. I am completely and utterly proactive about this, to the extent that if you want to change your life, then you have to do something.
Tony, beautiful.
And you have to use your free will to do it.
Yeah.
I don't accept this.
And the other way. You have been doing stuff all your life, and if you want to change your life radically, stop doing, and your life will change.
Well, yeah, but in fact, there's a very specific kind of doing that I'm really have in mind, which is an undoing, actually. It's a doing, but it's an undoing, a very specific doing that is an
beautiful,
undoing.
Tony. Thanks for sharing. What's the big deal?
No big deal. It's just what came out.
Beautiful.
But Claire,
I think we've got a really shitty connection on the Zoom server tonight, actually, aren't we? Because
perfection.
It's okay now.
So Claire, it's the same. I would say, what is for meaning and meaningless, and opinions and needs and wants and preferences. It's the same with agreement and disagreement. It comes and goes, there may be a disagreement. It's spontaneously. It's the same there, disagreeing and not liking, but also the idea that when we all agree, it would be better than when we disagree. All those, I'm not saying that it's playing out, but disagreement and agreement, it's the same there. These things come and go. There can be a certain time when there was a disagreement for certain types of things, and it has shifted into agreement instead of disagreement. It's the same. Sometimes there's agreement, sometimes
everyone knows it.
There's
Everyone knows
disagreement.
it.
Yeah. I'm like a scientist, Sander. When I sort of spot things, I sort of want to just raise them. I suppose it connects the things in my head, and I just
It's
want to
beautiful
express it when something comes
is
up for me.
happening. So I just want
Okay,
to
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Gio. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just want to say for Claire that regarding meanings and preferences, that if we want to dig stories, we need meanings, we need preferences, or we can rest, step back. There are no stories and no meanings, because the meanings are the links that make up a story. If you don't have meaning, you don't have stories.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're
Beautiful,
right,
Gio.
Gio.
Once meanings appear, stories appear, and suddenly stories may disappear. Right now, all stories may disappear right now.
Yes.
No past, no future, just this timeless present.
And not
here we
even,
are.
Gio. Beautiful. And not
Not
even
not
this
even.
timeless, whatever this means, timeless presence. I
And
mean,
in
yeah.
a way,
Nothing.
meaning itself or meaningless is just another story. It's a story
Yes.
itself. So, I mean, where to go, right? So,
You've got to be a Dharma warrior.
Oh, Tony.
Yes, you have to be a Dharma warrior.
yeah, I mean, I don't see, it's funny because, there seems to be many people who so that's just how it plays, There's nothing wrong with it.
It's
That's
the
how
mind
it is
does
seen,
not like, the mind hates lack of stories. It hates it. It gets restless, and it seems that it's losing everything when stories disappear.
Yeah, until
So
it
it
doesn't.
grabs stories.
Until it doesn't.
Until it, exactly.
Is that necessarily a bad thing though? Because sometimes storytelling it's just what humans do. We've done it since we lived in caves. We tell stories. It's not necessarily a thing that we would seek to stop. We don't see that as something we're trying to
No,
transcend.
of course not.
Story,
Yes,
Claire.
Just tell stories.
Exactly.
There's no way to avoid the story. There's no you existing outside. It's all an innocent storyline. There's just a story playing on. There's just an innocent flow of stories or thoughts or however you want to call it. There's nothing outside or besides that story. It's all a story. So saying we've been telling stories about, or we're not being telling stories, or stories are meaningful, or stories are not meaningful, it's already
That's
just
another story.
And what I would like to say, there is no separation or wholeness or division or you or me outside stories.
Sweetheart, listen, I'm going now to pull you out of the story. Boom.
It's another story.
Yes.
I mean, where to go? This, it's, you can also say it's just a thought. Outside this thoughts painting a world with a you at this base and separated other things, there is no such things as a base or a you or other things. There is nothing and not even nothing.
There's nothing wrong
but
with
it may come to the point when death and birth are also stories, and that's somehow has a different flavor, right?
Well, no one experienced birth. No one experienced.
That's why it's not a story. Yes, you said what I was just going to say. Death and birth and death are not stories because they're never experienced. If they're not experienced, it cannot be a story.
There is absolutely no experience of any birth. So I told this before. At a certain point, it just started playing. There was no, experience of birth. At a certain moment.
Yeah, so there is no story. If there is no experience of birth and death, there is no birth and death.
No, but there may be birth and there is birth and death as ideas and beliefs and concepts and stories.
Which are stories. Which are stories.
So
Okay,
there
but
is
look, there's
birth and
nothing wrong
death.
with stories. Is there anything? Look, is there something wrong with stories? I mean, because I don't think there's
No,
anything wrong
no,
with
no.
stories.
Unless you get
not if
besides
the
snake.
stories, if
What
the
it comes
stories go
down
on
to.
linked into one another story, always,
Yeah, okay.
without
Yeah, look, the
interruption.
stories will be there,
That
whether
maybe,
there's suffering or not. Look, the thing is, it just comes down to this, doesn't it? If you take yourself to be the limited individual, there will be suffering. If you take yourself to be unlimited, it's the
There
end
will
of
be
suffering.
suffering too.
It's
It's
no,
just another
because you
point
are
of view.
absolutely no. No, 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 no,
Yes,
no, no,
yes,
no, no,
yes,
no,
yes,
I would
no.
say,
yes.
you know,
Rosa, shut the fuck up.
Shut up, Tony. I love you.
I would say there's no issue with stories until there, you know, there seems to be, there may play a sensation or a feeling that it's all about me as an addition to stories. So when there are just stories, when there's just this, when there's a sense of personality in the story, then it becomes a different ball game.
Look, I think it's important to say this to Rosa. I'm not saying that the end of suffering means that you won't have an undesirable situation in your life
Tony,
or
there is
something
no
that'll happen that
fucking
you
end
don't
of
want. That's not what
suffering.
I'm saying.
Tony,
I'm
there
not
is
saying
no
that.
bloody end of suffering. What the heck are
Tony.
you talking about?
But if there's no one to suffer, then how can there be suffering?
This is just blah blah bullshit. It's what it is.
No.
Call it suffering or not.
What
If there
Tony
is
is
no
saying,
one to suffer, then there is no
yes,
psychological suffering.
when there's no sense of ownership or personal, then there is, you know, suffering is not.
I thought that was non-duality 101. There is no one here
Saying that
to suffer.
suffering is not implies that already that there is suffering.
Does not imply.
Of
Well,
course.
Say
It's
that again.
exactly the same. So sorry. Of
What,
course there is
Rosie?
suffering. Of course there is suffering. There is
Suffering
no
is the
escaping the
psychological
suffering.
identification with the ego that seems to be
Call
suffering.
it what you
If
want.
there is no longer that identification, there cannot be suffering.
So exactly,
Bullshit.
when there is a, you know, let's put it like this.
Non-duality 101, that is.
There is physical pain. There's physical pain, right? So let's make the distinction between physical pain. So there's a heart.
I didn't use the word pain.
Oh, but wait. So I will come to it. So let's take heart issue, right? It's a physical thing. So,
Okay, well, look, Sander, last week I was in great.
Tony, wait.
Yeah, go on then. Go on.
Please wait. So then, you know, when it becomes suffering, you know, there can be physical pain. It's something, you know, bodily. Suffering is when there's an additional story going on, why this is happening to me. So certainly this pain is taken to be personal. It's my pain. It's all about me. It's my what God has done this to me. It's my physical body. So there's a sense of self or a sense of personal suffering in it. This is what makes it the suffering. Pain is pain. It's something from the body.
Yes. So there is that distinction. Look, I told you like 2 weeks ago, I was in great pain because I had this tendonitis in my shoulder, very painful. But while I had that pain, which is almost gone now, but while I had it, I couldn't say that I was suffering. I honestly could not. There was pain, a lot of pain when I moved my arm, but I was not suffering.
Okay, Tony, I get you. I get you.
Here.
I get you with this suffering. For me, suffering is pain, so there is no distinction in both. I have not this extra layer of I am suffering. There is just pain.
Well,
and
but
it's simple. It's very simple. There is no issue with no matter what.
No, even if there is a
then you are saying the
personal,
same thing. Tony and Rosa are saying the same stuff.
If there is a, you know, even if there is a sense
I'm not
of
sure I
my
am,
pain, you know, even
because
if
Rosa is always saying there will always be suffering. You will never get rid of suffering. I disagree.
But let me add something. Even if there is a sense of personal, you know, centeredness in this so-called physical body, it's already impersonal. It's, you know, it's just what's arising. This sense of taking things personal, the sensation of being a separated person, the belief that there is a you for whom this is playing, it's already just playing innocently. You know, this can
or
just
full
play
on.
in many ways. It can, you know, the sense of center or the sense of personality may play or may not play, you know, and
Yeah, okay, but when you're feeling this suffering, like Rosa, if you're oh, okay, if you want to call pain and suffering, like
It's
if
the
you want to
same
use
for me.
those
It's
two
the
words,
same.
okay, that's fine. If you want to use those two words interchangeably, I'm not going to argue with that. That's fine. But this pain and suffering, when you feel it, and I'm not talking about physical suffering. I'm talking about emotional, ego suffering. When that's happening, you feel it, you're aware of it. There is an awareness of it. There is an awareness of it. There's an aversion to it. Can you not imagine? Can you not imagine that that could completely disappear? Can you not imagine that?
Of course, things
You
come and
can
go,
imagine.
sweetheart. Of course. This may
You
simply
can
stop
imagine
the
whatever you
suffering.
want.
No, I mean forever. I don't mean for 1
There
hour.
is
I
no
mean
forever,
forever.
sweetheart. But I don't know. It's just for me, it's just blah blah. There is, I don't
yeah.
know. I don't see a point in this.
Okay.
You
Well,
see,
I mean, it's a
That's
pretty
already
Tony
big
and
point because you
Rosa,
see, people don't like to suffer. So it's a pretty
are
big
Gio.
agreeing.
point.
Gio,
Tony,
Gio.
Rosa and Tony, I agree. They are agreeing, but they don't seem to see it because Rosa said that for her, suffering is pain, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
pain
okay.
is impersonal. Said. So you are
Pain is
saying the same
impersonal.
thing. Why are you discussing?
Well, last week I was
She
going
said
there is
that there
my
nothing,
is no
shoulder
Gio,
hurts
life.
like hell,
She
and I
Gio,
said
was
that
I
Gio.
wasn't.
it's
There is
pain.
nothing impersonal here. Here, for me, full on personal is already
Yes,
impersonal.
yes, Rosa.
There is
I'm
just
with Rosa on
always the
this.
totality
Yes.
of what is. There is
Yeah.
never something wrong or right with no matter what. It's just what is.
If you're suffering, it's personal.
Right.
It's personal.
It's
It's not
suffering.
impersonal.
It's just suffering.
It's personal.
Done. It's just suffering. That's
It's
it.
I am suffering. That's personal. I am suffering. And I want
Okay,
it to
Tony.
stop. I want it to go away.
Yeah,
That's
beautiful.
personal.
That's it. I want the suffering to go away. Done. That's
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. No more, no less, just this.
Yes.
Yeah, but the moment you say that, the personal is already impersonal, that doesn't make much sense, right?
Yeah,
Because to
this
be
really makes no
personal
sense, sweetheart.
No, the personal isn't
makes no sense
impersonal.
because in order to be a personal, there must be a fixed something, and there is no such
Well, I
fixed
would say
something
innocent,
anywhere.
Geo. So, okay, we changed the world from innocent. So the sense of being a person
Yeah, that's
has
right.
already nothing to do with you. There's no separated you who is making that feeling. The feeling of personalship or the lack of personalship has already nothing to do with you as a separated person bringing about that feeling. That feeling may arise on its own.
Well, you need to
Yeah.
start thinking about having some goals in your life now, you see, because
Who?
because the goal, that's the
Who?
goal. The goal is to be effortlessly and choicelessly established in yoga. That is the goal.
Tony, I love how you're always underlying or promoting your bullshit there or your business or
Yes,
whatever
it's
you're running.
essential. It's absolutely
No more
essential.
Unbelievable.
books
You're
for
such
you.
a beautiful
Rosa, this
business
is my
idiot.
mission. This is my mission. You understand
No
this?
more
It's
books
my
for you,
mission.
Tony. No more books. No
Oh,
more
but
readings
they're
about yoga.
burned. They've all been burned.
I don't think he's reading so much books, Gio. And to be honest,
Tony
I
is
think he
watching
is.
too much YouTube bullshit. He's totally spoiled.
No, I'd rather watch something on Netflix than read a book about spirituality. But talking about books, Claire, what is this about? This book you're working on? What is this? Sounds very exciting.
Don't know what to say. I'm writing a book. That's it.
Yeah, and
I
it's
love,
got
I
a
love
quote
writing. I mean,
from
you
me
know
in
I like
it.
writing. I'm constantly
Oh,
posting,
yes.
and that's why I got
Yes.
into Facebook non-duality for my sins, because I just wanted to write and I thought people might want to read it.
Ah,
That's the only reason I'm in
right.
these groups.
So when's that coming
Why
out?
not?
In maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month. I don't know.
are you self-publishing it on Amazon or something?
Yeah, I think I will. It's probably the easiest thing to do, and I did that for Michael's book. It's funny, as you mentioned it, I just saw him message me saying that the hardcover has arrived of his book. And it's beautiful. It's quite easy to do.
Yeah, we need more spiritual books.
It's actually not going to be a spiritual book. You'll be delighted to hear. It will be as far away from the spirituality section as possible to be.
Oh, is it a drama?
It's a romantic, romance.
Is it a
story.
romantic comedy?
A romantic tragedy.
It's a bloody tragedy because it's the end of something very, very cherished. But it's
Is Tom Hanks in it?
Stories.
Forrest Gump.
It's not a film, Tony. But thank you for your interest.
I mean, obviously it'll become a screenplay, and then it'll be a movie. So yeah,
you can play me.
Well, I look
Tony,
forward to
you
that,
have
actually.
to promise to read the book and
I will. Of course, I'll
give
read
a
it.
short report, a summary of it when you read it.
I just wanted to ask Gio something. Now he's gone.
Perfection.
Yes.
Gio. See, this is where it works. This is where it doesn't work.
Oh, I don't know. If it was possible for me to get frustrated, I'd be really frustrated.
He's almost back. Let me ask him. Gio, I was wondering.
Yes.
How is it with the heart?
I have the doctor's appointment this Friday.
Okay.
And after the appointment, I will know when the procedure will be scheduled. I don't know yet.
Okay.
Keep us updated, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Thank you.
Hey, and maybe you want.
I think this is Gio. This is just a fairly sort of standard procedure of just getting the arrhythmia back into. They use a electrical. You must have. Yeah, they use a little electrical thing just to get the arrhythmia back to a normal sort of thing. It's quite straightforward, I think, isn't it?
Is it a pacemaker?
Now that you have raised the
I don't think he's ready for a
about,
pacemaker.
About Tony, now that you have raised the issue of the heart, I just want to say something to Garrett, that when I have this arrhythmia, I can very easily say that I'm depressed because it is a sudden, very unpleasant feeling in the chest. And I doubt that anyone who has this feeling would say that he's not depressed. It is a sense of depression, but I know that it is the heart because I learned to recognize the arrhythmia, but it is a very strange oppression in the chest. And if you don't know about it, so I just must ask you, have you ever consulted a cardiologist to see if your heart is okay?
No, I did had a blood test at the doctors, and they done that sort of thing. And yes, my heart is just good. You know, the count and all that. 128 over 68, I think, something like that. So it seems fine.
It has nothing to do with blood pressure, though, right?
Blood pressure?
Because Garrett is saying his blood pressure is right, but has the blood pressure something to do with this particular problem?
No.
There's nothing to do with blood pressure, Garrett.
Oh, I see.
No.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the right test for it would be an electrocardiogram. Electrocardiogram, ECG.
Right?
Yes. EKG. Gio, you know, it's amazing when you said now that having this how is it called? Heart, no rhythm?
Arrhythmia.
Yeah. A rhythm, okay? It's in a
Yeah.
way like a depression. So first of all, when I hear the word depression, it's of course, very individually, this word, like hurt, and but it's funny because I had this eating disorder and was living for a long time. I call it on the rocks. So the body had not really enough energy, and this felt in a way quite death. And I simply noticed when I took supplements or ate more, like when there was enough power. So it was exactly what when I heard about so many depressive people. I was just like, get the right food. Look that you are nourishing the body, and this depression may simply go. It's very like also with, it's interesting. This is simply what's coming up here, listening to what you said with the
Yes,
heart.
because it is a sensation.
Yeah,
It is very simply a perception, a
yeah,
sensation in the chest. And if you are not aware that it is a physical problem, an electrophysical problem, you could easily go into the story that you are depressed because you don't want to do anything. You just want to stay quiet. You don't feel like talking. You are not interested in anything because this discomfort in your chest is just
beautiful.
it take precedence over anything else.
But in a way, it's a
You know?
cause and
Yeah,
effect.
this is really.
It's in a way a cause and
I,
effect thing, like this, this issue
The
is
body,
causing like the
yes,
quietness. There is no instinct to boom out, to meet people, to I don't know what,
no,
because it's
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah, totally, totally. Mm.
I had a very similar experience a few years ago. It was very, very scary. I mean, really strong arrhythmias. It was energetic as well. And oh God, missing beats. I mean, it was scary. I thought I was going to die. But I kind of put it down to Kundalini Kriya's effects. But okay, that's another story.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny, it's with all these types of sensations, either in chest or in head or whatever, in your left toe. Um, there seems to be a mental interaction to it. And one of the mental interactions can be withdrawn from social situation, which may mimic a depression. All that, this
Yeah,
whole mechanism is playing innocently out, like
Yeah.
that's what is being pointed to also here. So certain type of sensations, there's also a mental reaction to it.
yeah,
And like, for example, so when Tony is saying, well, so there was a mental, like conclusion or assumption that it has to do with some kind of Kundalini, whatever type of energy in the body. Where for another so-called individual, it will be, a depression, or it will be anxiety, or it will be because, so not to dismiss anything. These things can be various types of, causes and effects. That's what
yes,
it's just, the naming and the labeling and the going into conclusions and assumptions about what that pain could be and coming to a conclusion without seeing a doctor is just simply what's happening. There's a mental reaction to a physical system,
yeah,
but there's no you in between.
no,
There's no you as a separated someone in between the so-called mind and the body. There's just a mind-body system functioning, which may include the idea or the belief that there is a you in between who has something to do with it or not. It's still just the same functioning.
Well, I haven't given up on you, Claire. I haven't given up.
That you notice, Tony, you're like a fox watching the chickens.
I'll never give
me
up,
pick
Claire.
up my
No,
phone,
I tell
didn't
you what,
you?
as long as I live, I'll never give up with you. No, I'll never give up.
Well, you don't know, Tony. You don't know. Maybe tomorrow there's a giving up totally. There's a total giving up of trying to change Claire. Come on, don't say that. No
I
one
don't
is
know.
knowing. You know, there's no way to make such an ultimate statement that I'm always going to eat the same breakfast. No, what? Maybe tomorrow you're sick of it. You know, I'm
Oh yeah,
always
well, but it's
with
better
my
to
wife.
cross that bridge when you come to it. You see, it's better to talk about what's actually happening rather than what might not happen in the future.
Yeah, but
because
you
that's
know,
just a thought, isn't it?
yeah, I understand what you mean, you know, but this, you know, all these types of so-called statements that we will do something the rest of our lives, there's absolutely no way of knowing what is next. This can just simply flip like a
Well,
leaf on the
I
tree.
wasn't being entirely serious when I said that.
Yeah,
but
sweetheart,
I know.
exactly. Tony, when I
know.
listen
make it
to
a bit of
you,
a joke.
Tony, when I listen to you, no matter what
know.
you're saying, I simply cannot take it seriously. It's so funny.
Of course
And
not. I mean,
I
yeah,
know
can
it's
you
a joke,
imagine?
Tony.
Can you imagine me taking myself seriously? I
no,
mean,
not
that's
really,
just bizarre.
not really.
That's
I
just
think you do
bizarre.
take yourself seriously, Tony. I think you've got a real need to bring everyone into something
No,
together. It was
no,
interesting because
I don't think so.
you
Clear,
notice when
Clear.
people just
Oh, Claire, that's just your projection.
When
You're
Claire,
projecting onto
Claire,
me.
when Tony boomed in the
It's a
first
Claire
time,
projection.
I remember when Tony, when I saw him the first time, then I
Yeah, it
was
really
like,
freaked you out.
what an idiot. And then I simply started like chatting a little bit, arguing somehow, playing, and then I directly noticed the joke in it, like, and really like the whole time just playing a game, a beautiful game, entertaining himself the whole time. And yeah, this I
Sometimes
actually
he
love.
forgets about it.
But
Sometimes he forgets about it.
this is it. There is simply not knowing of it. It plays so freely, and I love the energy, Tony. So again, a compliment for no one.
Thank you.
You're
Just
welcome.
I gotta
stay
say
in the
good night.
flow.
I'll see you next time.
Bye,
Gareth,
Gareth.
thank you.
Gareth.
Good night,
Bye,
Gareth.
Gareth.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Check this heart out.
Well,
maybe.
this is a tight little group, isn't it? It's just a very cozy, tight little group.
It's funny because I was having a joke with Sylvan that sometimes this group turns into therapy for Tony because you all sort of start sharing something and then everyone starts coming at you. But today it's like, Tony, you want to be the therapist for everyone else.
Well,
At least for me.
I don't know really. You know, I'm just completely out of control. I mean, I don't know what.
You're
it's just whatever
completely
happens.
fucked up.
No, well, I don't know. You see, no, I wouldn't say that. You see, I wouldn't say that. I'm very much at peace, actually.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, really,
That's
yeah,
it.
really.
Wait,
It's always there. Yeah.
beautiful.
I'm usually totally fucked up.
What do you mean by this, Gio?
No idea. No, it just doesn't make anything. Doesn't
I
make.
like it
There
when
is no
Gio laughs.
sense, Rose. You know that. Nothing makes sense. There is no meaning to anything.
But-
There is no up, down, right, left, bottom, top, better, worse, good, bad. And, you know, there is no
Yeah,
drive
don't
to
ever
understand.
yeah, okay,
learn to
but
fly a plane, will you?
Gio, listening to this, I now imagine like it's morning and you have to get up, but because there is no sense, you simply stay in bed. Fuck it. There
Yeah.
is no sense anyways. Just lay
That
No,
here.
sounds
there is
great.
no. Yeah.
So for here, it's not playing like this. Here is just booming out, going to work, doing this,
What a-
joining meetings.
I mean, that
Why
can be
would that be different? I mean,
Yeah.
you can be doing thousands of things and it doesn't
Go on
make
now.
any meaning.
Claire wants to get, I can feel
sense
this.
anyway.
Claire wants to be serious about something now.
Not necessarily. I was just bridging the gap between Rosa and Gio. There can be a nihilism in this, and there can also be a joy in this. It's
No, wait, Claire. I guess it's not a nihilism what Gio means. It's not
No,
it, right?
I agree. I don't think it
No.
is.
No, but
No.
I agree. I don't think it is, but I agree with Claire also. You know, sometimes innocently so, non-duality, although there is not a thing like non-duality, can be seen innocently as a nihilistic worldview where nothing, you know, is important and all those types. You know, nothing matter.
Oh
or
yeah, yeah, most
you know.
definitely.
But that is,
Yeah.
I would say that is not the case here. There are many things which are founded to be important, but it fluctuates. It's just innocently arising. Certain things seems important one day or for a certain time, and then it goes away. It has nothing to do with nihilism, you know.
There are no links between the stories. A story comes up, then another story comes up, another one. The link that unites these stories is the me, but as there is not the
That
center,
exactly. That's
me,
beautifully
then the
said.
stories are just simply appearing,
Yes.
Tony bullshitting, then Rosa bullshitting, then,
Geo
Claire
bullshitting.
And Claire
bullshitting,
talking
Geo
sense.
bullshitting, whatever. If there
Yeah,
is
come on,
the
include
me is
yourself in
not
this.
So
present,
the glue
the
is away.
stories
There's
are
no
just
glue.
flashing up.
There's no
That's
glue.
so
There's
lovely.
nothing which glues the stories together as a me, where it's about me. No, there's importance. Of course, there's importance. I would say certain things and certain other
I
things are
call it,
not
I don't
important.
call it importance anymore. This shifted into excitement.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can say there are
Oh, would
certain
that be
things which
your
are
highest
Yeah.
exciting.
There is the importance is not anymore here, but there is an excitement to maybe eat healthy, to go to work, to take care of this body, to have friends. There is just an excitement to do this. There is no importance to do this. There is no need for this. It just
Well,
happens.
the river is flowing down the hill, and suddenly there is a rock here, the water deviates. Then there is a precipice, the water will fall down, and you say, well, this is very important because if I don't fall down, the water will float away. It's impossible. So it falls down. If there is a rock, the water will deviate. Oh, it's very important to deviate from the rock, otherwise the water will hit the rock. No, it's not
Yeah.
important. It will
Yeah.
deviate naturally.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
just goes
Yeah.
down.
There's just an innocent avoiding driving the car into a tree, although there's no.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
yes,
just it's
yes,
just a function, and it doesn't need to have a separated you at its center to avoid another tree or another car. It's just how it seems to
yes,
function, and it may function also in the opposite way, where there is a longing to drive into a tree. It's already
yeah.
as empty. This suicide and all those things doesn't need a you at its center. It's just also innocent. Not wanting to live. It's just still life as not wanting to live.
And when it comes to subtle mental movements, this is a bit more difficult to see.
Yes.
It is more subtle. And we believe that these mental movements and moods have a motive, have some reason, have some meaning, but it's the same as the water flowing down always.
Yeah.
Be it subtle, be it gross, be it uh, sudden, be it gradual, it's the same.
Yeah. Beautiful.
There seems to be an innocent idea for some people, this has to be this because I'm here because of a reason, and that idea itself may just simply go.
The me is the reason. There is no escaping it.
Yeah.
Life doesn't see you already as a separated individual, which is life itself. I mean, it
I can
doesn't
say
need
you
to.
are alive. So
Yeah. Nothing is being seen or seeing you. It's just happening as it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
We can say there's just life, the whole claim that there is just life, or the opposite claim is still just life.
I love to call it aliveness because but it's no difference.
But yes, but now I know that Tony is thinking the same thing that I am. There is something more upstream that is not aliveness, right? It is completely neutral, completely passive, and it is the real one, Tony would say.
Ah,
And uh, Okay.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool, Jew. It's
I
cool.
really,
It's
Peace
I
cool.
which
really like
passes
your
Yeah.
understanding.
It's
Yeah,
cool.
I
I know
would
what
say
you mean.
that. I would say that because
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's where you start as the individual ego.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you discriminate.
We talked
You
about this.
discriminate. Discriminate
Yeah.
between what is changing and what is not changing. That's the traditional path. And then you discover that what isn't changing is just awareness. And you make a distinction between the two as if they're different.
But the beauty is, Tony,
But
it's
they're not
all
different. But
changing. You know, it's all changing, and it's completely
you have to
the
play the
same.
game.
No, but you know, it's all changing,
it's
and at the
keeping the
same
game.
time, it's not changing. Nothing is changing, and everything is changing at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a conclusion?
Well, you
No,
can call
it's
it a
a
conclusion,
description.
or a belief, or a concept, or a story, or whatever,
Because
or
very often people say these things. I'm not talking about you specifically, but people say these things as if they've reached a conclusion. And very often it's not a conclusion. It's just something they've picked up,
But
from
wait,
non-duality.
Tony, have you noticed that listening to diverse speakers, like as you said, some you hear it as if they know it. It's a conclusion. They know it now. They're speaking, and you can feel it. You really can feel it. And this is directly, I can feel it directly, and there is zero resonance with this. When I hear it, it's just like, okay, good, beautiful, enjoy. And yeah, but I just wanted to tell you how really display, like resonating with something and not. There is simply a heaviness in
Yeah.
this. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, because there is a subtle sense of possession. I know.
Arrogance.
I was talking about awareness, let's say.
You see, for
The
me,
moment
even
I talk about
resonating is just a
the moment
story
I talk
also.
about the moment I talk about awareness, I can very subtly believe that I have found something very original and that belongs to me, and I will try to defend
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't have
Exactly.
found it because it's always been there.
Of course.
But also
It's
this
just been
here is
obscured.
perfection. Like, this beautiful arrogance playing out with like teachers
Must
like
be.
Tony D.
Must be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to resonate, right? And when it resonates, then you get the healing. See, yeah, the healing comes after the resonating.
Tony, sweetheart, there is no escaping of bullshitting yourself already. Enjoy the show if you can. Boom.
Right.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I very much
Very
do.
nice. Yes. You are right.
I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just
I know
thinking,
that you don't believe it. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, this
But
sort of
you're right.
favorite, one of the favorite quotes from Ramakrishna, who said that for the wise, the awake, the world is a mansion of delights. It's one of my favorite quotes from him.
And bullshit. Yeah.
No, I don't think he said that.
It's the same.
Geo did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you see,
because if you
all the
say
stories are
delight,
fine.
now someone may start.
It's the craving and the clinging, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it makes you realize just how perceptive, Buddha was, because he identified immediately the suffering, the nature of suffering, the end of the suffering, and he said it was because of craving and clinging. That's so clear, so absolutely clear. No, I'm not a Buddhist, but it was presented in that way. And if you keep going back to that, if you keep going back to the fact that there's suffering and you want suffering to end, and there is a path to it, and that is the goal, then you see you really can't go wrong.
Amen.
It may resonate with some people,
but
for others not.
If you put yourself in this limbo, this kind of limbo of just saying, well, there is only what is, there's only what's happening, then there's a kind of helplessness there. You're not moving. You're not moving anywhere. You
Or
see.
there is always a
Oh.
helplessness, sweetheart. You're never
Oh.
moving anywhere.
Oh.
Oh yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, but this is where the paradoxes come in. Yes, you are completely helpless because ultimately you're not in control of anything. So you are helpless in that
And
sense.
even in that,
But you're
there's no
not
control.
helpless but you're not helpless in the sense that you can be established as your sort of true nature. That's not a helplessness, that's a kind of knowledge, which will be totally accepting of the fact that you can't control everything. But then you can in some ways. It says somewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, you see, you have control you can draw the arrow back in the bow. You have the free will to do that. But when you let the arrow go, you have no control over where the arrow is going to land. So it's kind of both, you know. It's two sides of the coin, as you would say, Sander.
I understand, but you know, the sense, I used to say, you know, the belief that there is control or the lack of the belief that there's control is already not controllable. So the belief in the story that there is something there to control or that there is
that's another thought. That's another thought. An
itself
afterthought
is already not controllable. You know, but you
yeah, but
so the belief that there is control or the lack of that belief or the sensation, I'm talking about, there seems to be so-called individuals having a certain feeling that they are in control. That itself is already uncontrollable.
I felt that I had the control to set up the camera and the light and come to this Zoom meeting at a particular time.
I totally believe you. I totally believe you, sweetheart.
I felt that I was in control of that.
How does it feel? Because because there needs also to be another
how
feeling
does
that
it
there's
feel?
no control.
Being
There's just an
like a
idea
rolling
of
stone.
control. It's just another idea.
Being on your own.
Oh, now that's a good question. How does it feel?
Like a rolling
It doesn't, because it's
stone.
already too late.
Yeah, but
It's already too late to feel it. It's gone.
it's just, you know, thoughts claiming there to be a person in a room amongst other objects able to control the objects. Outside of that innocent stream of happenings, thoughts suggesting there to be a you to begin with, there's no such thing as a you or no control or the lack of control.
Beautiful. You know, when this in a way was very obvious here, when you said the first time, well, actually, he was never the sense of a me. Then this was very obvious that there's just a claim. There was a me,
But
there was a full control,
I too didn't have
and there was
sense
never
that
a
I
me.
was going to a Zoom meeting. I too did not have a kind of division within my mind of thinking, I am going to this Zoom meeting. No, I didn't have that. Absolutely not. It just spontaneously.
Are we awake now? Are we awake now?
Are we awake
in
now?
this moment? Yeah.
Yes.
Are we free of the stories here now, just in this timeless moment?
Well,
I cannot say yes and I cannot say no, Gio.
No one can know in an absolute way. This cannot be known, I would say, you know. I would say, of course, there can be all types of ideas, what is awake and what is not awake and what is aware and not aware. But on an absolute level, we can't say anything.
There's no separate. There's no separate. Look, you
or
said
the
a while
lack
back,
of those ideas.
Exactly, Gio. There's no
Okay,
way
but look,
of
you said a
knowing.
while ago, there are things that are important for you, right?
And it doesn't matter, Gio.
For you, right? Going to work, feeding the dogs, right? And that's you doing that, right? That's you doing that, even though there is no one having a conversation with themselves saying, oh, I must do this. It just happens spontaneously, but that's still you doing it.
Or talking or doing a Zoom meeting, you know, like the words, you know, words are just coming out. There's no additional layer to a sense of ownership, like, oh, it's my words, it's mine, you know, or it's a sense of doership. There's just sounds being produced by a body. There's nothing more or less to it. It's the same with feeding dogs. And I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. When you call me and say what you have done, the I is added to the story. Oh, Tony, I fed the dogs. But during so-called
When you
beingness
report
or
it.
activities, there's no such thing as a sense of a me or a sense of separation. No, there's just whatever
Right.
is happening.
Yes, right. But
I'm gonna
you know,
have to say goodnight, guys. So
Yeah, we're going
For
to
me
quit
too,
also.
sweetheart. Me
oh
too.
yeah, okay. Well, you've been more than 2 hours, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I would go to bed early. You see how it
That was
goes?
good. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed this discussion, I have to say.
Yeah,
I really
obviously,
enjoyed
Tony. Obviously, you enjoyed it.
it. Obviously.
Theo,
Yeah.
it was lovely to see you.
Love
Good
you,
luck
sweetheart.
Friday with
Yeah,
the
Gio.
doctor appointment.
Oh yes.
Good luck,
Yes.
dear.
I'm
You will
with
be
you,
in my
sweetheart.
thoughts.
I'm
Yeah.
You'll be in
full
my thoughts,
already.
Gio.
Tony, have a beautiful sleep. Rose, have a beautiful night. Claire, thank you for the link and providing and all the input. Such a lovely meeting. We see each other when we see each other the next time, you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank
Perfection.
you. Thank you.
Perfection.
Take
Absolute
care.
perfection.